Chapter 253. Thea's admiration for this person could only be described as a torrential river. Not only did this guy snatch the ninja master's grandson, but he also kidnapped his daughter. He was probably the only one who could fully express the meaning of the word courting death. As an ordinary person with no special abilities, no technological equipment, and no combat training, he was the only one who dared to offend a ninja master to such an extent. Talia, Damien, and Thea had nothing to do with him. She could ignore him and go home for dinner, but Batman had just agreed to take the blame for her, so it was not appropriate for her to just leave. Furthermore, the clown had already noticed her. If she did not get rid of him, who knew if Star City would be implicated? Thea did not care about these so-called high IQ criminals. If one magic couldn't get rid of them, she would use two. Both sides had different worldviews, so how could they fight? What's your plan? Thea looked at Batman seriously. His wife and child were kidnapped, and Barbara was seriously injured. If he said that he did not have any ideas, then he was not a man. Let's split up. Did you bring your equipment? Batman suddenly realized that Thea's business suit and high heels did not seem suitable for combat. Thea took out a travel bag from her space ring and gestured to him. The few who had seen her magic were fine, but the future Red Hood and current second-generation Robin, Jason Todd, was shocked. He rubbed his eyes and could not see where such a big bump came from. The clown seems to have imprisoned the two of them separately. We each go in one direction and quickly save them. According to my judgment, he should be in this chemical plant. I'll go there. Batman pointed at a certain spot on the map. You can leave this factory to me. Okay. After saying that, Sia went to change her clothes with Babla. With her physical fitness, she could wear the combat suit or not, but ordinary clothes were not very convenient in battle. Moreover, after being shot, the clothes would be full of holes, and it was easy to expose her body. Wait, Jason Todd shouted to stop them. Mr. Bruce, what about me? It's not that I don't trust this lady. I just think she needs some help. You haven't finished your training yet. Bruce had already changed into the batsuit. His voice was low and magnetic. Bang! Bang! 2 gunshots were heard. Jason Todd shouted in dissatisfaction. My marksmanship is good enough for all the missions. Guns are toys for the weak. Batman recited a famous quote from his father-in-law, the ninja master. Unfortunately, Jason Todd didn't listen at all. Batman was also having a headache. This second-generation Robin was too subjective. He simply couldn't listen to any advice. Helpless, he could only use his fists and feet to persuade him. It's normal that I can't beat you, but I don't believe that this woman is stronger than me. Jason Todd, whose face was bruised and swollen, was even more displeased. His pride could not accept being beaten up in front of so many people. Oh, so what if she's a woman? Do you want to see the power of a woman? Originally, their domestic violence had nothing to do with Thea, but Jason Todd's mention of a woman reminded Thea of Diana, who was very dissatisfied with the discrimination between men and women. Anger rose in her heart. Jason Todd's silence made his attitude clear. Thea could only send a message to Batman. Don't blame me. This was his provocative look. Batman's eyes twitched a little. He shook his head gently, meaning that it was enough to teach him a lesson, but not cripple him. Humph! Thea stood 10 meters away. She stretched out her right hand and aimed at Jason Todd. In the latter's confused eyes, her magic burst out. The air was like a muffled thunder. Jason Todd's burly body seemed to have been hit by a heavy hammer. His feet left the ground and he flew 5 or 6 meters away. If Jason Todd had been prepared, he would not have been so weak. However, he had not seen Thea's various tricks. Now that he was caught off guard, he fell to the ground with a thud. The Batcave was a cave. Master Bruce had made a lot of technological equipment, but the floor was not paved. The ground was uneven. This fall was very solid. Barbara had long been dissatisfied with this blockhead. In her heart, only one person was worthy of the title of Robin. This rough guy was nothing. Now that she saw him in such a bad luck, she almost laughed out loud. Jason Todd's 200-pound muscles were not just for show. His physique was also at the peak of an ordinary person. This blow could make an ordinary person lie down for a day, but to him it was only to the extent of dizziness. He rubbed his head and got up, shouting, "This is witchcraft. I don't accept it. You dare to compete with me in marksmanship? Sure, let's have a civilized competition. It won't hurt the harmony." Thea had an idea and remembered a passage from a novel. Civilized competition? What was that? Jason Todd was not the only one who did not understand. Everyone in the room had never seen a civilized competition before. You shoot at me first. If you can hit me, you win. Then I'll shoot you. Do you dare? Thea said scornfully. I won't be responsible if something happens to you. Jason Todd raised his gun and aimed at Thea. He said with uncertainty. Thea did not say anything. She hooked her finger and signaled him to shoot. Jason Todd could now see that she was not an ordinary person. However, he did not aim at her fatal spots. Instead, he aimed at her limbs and fired continuously. He only looked at Thea when he ran out of bullets. Of course, Thea would not stand still and take the bullets. She was still far from having a body of steel. Now that she had obtained half of Ares's divinity, her dynamic vision was far better than when she was on Paradise Island. When she was facing the German soldiers, all the traces of bullets could not be hidden from her eyes. She picked up all the bullets with ease and looked at Jason Todd with a smile on her face. She opened her palm and revealed the bullets in her palm. Unfortunately, I didn't hit you. Is it my turn now? What the hell? Jason Todd was completely dumbfounded. He checked his gun again. That's right, it was his gun. It was not a fake gun. But how was this possible? Seeing Thea smiling as she took the gun from Barbara, he regretted it. He did not have the ability to catch bullets. No matter how many muscles he had, he could not block bullets. However, he would not admit defeat. With his personality, he could only grit his teeth and prepare to fight. All right, Babla. Take Thea to change her clothes. Let's get going. Batman saw Thea slowly raise her gun. He knew that she would not kill her new assistant. Although he wanted to teach Jason Todd a lesson, he felt that his wife and child were more important. He told her to stop fooling around. They still had business to attend to. Chapter 254. The process of changing was very fast. Other than preventing exposure during a firefight, it was also used to cover her face. With Thea's current physical strength, she could fully unleash the skateboard's maximum speed of 400 kilometers per hour without any anti-compression equipment. The skateboard that had once tortured Ares with its speed could no longer keep up with her strengthening speed. She urgently needed faster and stronger technological equipment. After asking for the location of the target, she took the communicator that Babla handed to her and split up with Batman in the Batfighter. Babla, whose computer skills were quite good, was now in the Batcave, relaying various information for them. As for Jason Todd, even if he was magnanimous, it would still take him a few days to recover from today's psychological trauma. Thea. Batman has already started fighting. Thea had just finished observing the battlefield when Babla had already sent her the real-time situation on the other side. That's quite urgent, Thea muttered softly. Batman was not as indifferent to this relationship as he appeared to be towards Talia and her son. The two of them arrived at the target location around the same time. Thea's Eye of Horus had just roughly scanned the area when he had already rushed in. Rushing in without even a basic investigation was definitely not the fighting quality of someone who had dominated Gotham for many years. Back then, they had agreed to attack at the same time. Thea did not find any heavy weapons inside. She put away the skateboard and blasted open the metal door with an arrow before rushing in. Against these modern criminals with guns, Thea did not use any magic or the Chosen's talent. She only used the magic arrow that came with the divine bow. She activated the Eye of Horus and shot one person regardless of distance and distance. From the time she entered the mechanical processing factory, 7 to 8 criminals had fallen under her arrows in just 2 minutes. The factory had been abandoned for many years and was very messy. Piercing through too many objects would greatly reduce the visual range of the Eye of Horus. Thea took a full 5 minutes to find her target. Babla, Tell Batman that my target is his son. Roger. The clown's subordinates shared the same characteristic as him. They were all crazy. Sia didn't hold back at all. She killed everyone she saw. Her deterrence didn't work at all. These people acted as if they didn't see her. They all hid in corners and fired crazily. Rockets and grenades were fired from time to time. These people didn't even think about the serious problem of whether such a powerful weapon would bury everyone indoors. As expected, mental patients were the most terrifying. Thea shook her head and shot another 2 men with rocket launchers to death. Hey, this kid is quite spirited. Why are you glaring at me? Damian Wayne wasn't hard to find, or rather, these lunatics didn't plan on hiding him. Thea found Batman's son in a room full of junk. Seeing that there was still tape on his mouth, she tore it off for him. Idiot! There's a sneak attack. Kid scolded as soon as he opened his mouth, but he still reminded Thea. Thea had already discovered the person behind her with her psychic power. She was only afraid that the other party would take Damian as a hostage, so she deliberately exposed her weakness. On one hand, she wanted to lure the other party into a sneak attack, and on the other hand, she wanted to create an opportunity for herself to approach Damian. Now, facing the enemy's flying kick, she twisted her body and used her left hand to block the opponent's attack. When the opponent's body was in midair and full of openings, she clenched her right hand into a fist and punched the opponent's lower abdomen. Boom! Although she didn't bring her mechanical arm, Thea's current physical strength was no weaker than Bane's when he drank the poison. Her punch sent the opponent flying straight to the wall, creating a big hole in the wall. He flew 5 or 6 meters before landing on the ground. Just as she was about to untie Damian, Thea felt that something was wrong. She scanned with her psychic power and found that the enemy who was sent flying by her punch was still alive. Did the clown have such a strong subordinate? However, when she saw the other party slowly climb up from the pile of trash, her signature red and blue coat, and her beautiful figure, Thea realized that this wasn't just a bunch of small fries. There was actually a famous person hiding here. This person with a slightly crazed expression and a large baseball bat in her hand was the clown girl. However, this person was still able to stand up shakily after taking a direct hit from her. She was only wearing a dirty tank top, and there was no armor or clothes on her lower abdomen. There was only the mark of her own fist. This was definitely not a normal person's physique. Was she injected with some kind of enhancer? Interesting. It would have been troublesome to deal with this person when she first arrived in Gotham, but now You're Talia's sister? You're much stronger than her. Although the clown girl stood up, the feeling of being punched was not pleasant. She felt that her intestines were about to break, and she was only holding on for now. She's not my mother's sister. She's an imposter. Before Thea could say anything, the naughty child beside her started to strongly disagree. 3 black lines appeared on Thea's forehead. What do you think you're doing? Imposter. I wouldn't even bother to impersonate Talia's sister, Nissa. As expected, naughty children are the most annoying. If it wasn't for Batman, I would have beaten the sh*t out of you. Depressed, Thea was too lazy to explain that there was a beautiful misunderstanding. In fact, she welcomed this kind of misunderstanding. Clown duo, if you have any grievances in the future, you can go to the Ninja Master. Of course, it would be even better if you misunderstood that I'm Darkseid's relative. It would be nice to think about how the clown blasted the Apocalypse Star into space dust. Cut the crap. Come here. Thea nimbly cast Magician's hand and dragged the clown girl to her front. The clown girl was trying to say more while waiting for her body to recover. Unfortunately, Thea observed the clown girl closely. Although the clown girl's face was painted red and blue, making her look like a monster from afar, she was actually quite good-looking. Her body was exactly what all men in this era dreamed of. How could she be a lunatic? The naughty child, Damian, was completely silent. He no longer dared to make a fuss about the imposter. From his point of view, he only saw Sia waving her hand, and the clown girl appeared in front of them with her feet off the ground. It was as if there was a pair of invisible big hands in the air that were strangling her neck. This scene still had a lot of impact on Damian, who was only 6 years old despite his maturing mind. He looked at Thea's face from the corner of his eye. Is she really here to save me? She can't be father's enemy. Can she? Even though he told himself to stay calm, his legs still felt weak. Damn it, what kind of eyes are you looking at? The clown girl was almost suffocating. She was not afraid of death, but Thea's look of looking at her as if she was some kind of rare animal made her angry. She pulled out her revolver and aimed at Thea's head. She can still move? This was a little out of Thea's expectations. She reached out 2 fingers and caught the bullet. Under the clown girl's horrified gaze, she also took the revolver from her. She held it in her hand and gestured a few times. The gun felt really good, but unfortunately, Thea had no love for it.